Hi everyone, thank you for joining our segment today on Tech Talk with Aegis. With me here today is Miss Joane, the Channel Enablement Specialist from Veeam Software. Joane has previously joined our segment talking about the importance of Microsoft 365 backup. And today we will be talking about the importance of data protection, and having a disaster recovery plan is very important. Why it is so? So come on, let's get into the conversation rolling. Hi, Joane.
Hi.
Hi. Can you explain what is Veeam and what can Veeam do?
So Veeam is a data protection and management solution that is able to protect customers' data in all different platforms and all the different kind of applications. So be it it is on-premise or even to the cloud, or even now to the containers world, the world of containers. Yeah, Veeam is able to protect all this data for the customer.
So what makes Veeam software so different from other backup softwares in the market?
How do we stand different from the in the market? I would say the 2 points. One is our 4-in-1 messaging, which is the ability to do on-premise backup, off-premise backup, and backup all kinds of workload of the customer. Second is the storage snapshot orchestration, that you can orchestrate the different snapshots of the different enterprise storage to do the backup. Third is on the host-to-host replication. You can up to 15 minutes of the interval of the replication for both VMware and Hyper-V. And if you're on the VMware, you can do live or CDP, continuous data protection replication of up to 15 seconds recommended or 2 seconds minimum. Second point is on our 4 tenets of our solution when we build our solution: simple, flexible, reliable, and powerful. These are the 4 tenets that our R&D stand true to from the start till now on how we build our solution to the market.
Wow, Joane, looks like Veeam solution is very powerful and the function is amazing.
That's right. Very true, Ai Vee. So that brings me to the question that I always have in mind. What made Aegis Cloud chose Veeam to power your solution?
Yes, Joane, Veeam has been with us from the start of our business, yeah, because Veeam is we acknowledge that Veeam is a complete data protection solution. Okay, Veeam's failure rate is very low, making it very reliable to our business. And for us cloud service providers, Veeam provides the pay-as-you-go kind of pricing. So as a managed service provider, flexibility is what we always look for. And this is what Veeam is able to provide us. And on top of that, Veeam also continuously provides trainings on complete data recovery and technical updates, always updating our engineers of anything new updates. So we are always updated with anything new from Veeam. Yeah. So on top of that, Veeam's support response is also very efficient, very quick to answer our questions. Any inquiries that we ask, they were quick to respond. So yeah, so all these points make us choose Veeam as our preferred backup solution. So Joane, what is the difference between backup and replication, and how does it apply in terms of disaster recovery?
Very spot on. So if you look at our company's the solution's name, Veeam Backup and Replication. So we are very specific on this, because when it comes to backup, it's on-premise backup or off-premise backup of the workload, which is a compressed and deduplicated file. So when it's a compressed and deduplicated file, it takes time to compress it or dedupe it. It also takes time to rehydrate it, to uncompress it and undedupe it. But the benefit of it is the file size is much smaller, and that's why you're able to back up multiple copies for your retention policy of no matter how many years or period that you want. When it comes to replication, that is a very important part of a data protection solution, because for replication, it's an exact replica of the virtual machine that is in the production. So how important is that? It is, you don't need to rehydrate the file when you do the recovery. You can immediately fail over to your DR site and power up the virtual machines at your DR site. And that is what makes replication different, host-to-host replication different from a backup. And usually we use host-to-host replication for mission-critical application. And that is where you can't afford a long downtime, or you have to have this workload at a different site. So it could be somewhere else from your main production data center, so that if anything goes wrong with your data center, you can easily fail over to your DR site. So that is the host-to-host replication in Veeam.
So Joanne, in what kind of scenario whereby replication is important to an organization?
When it comes to replication, it is an exact replica. So you can easily power it up at your DR site. So that is for customers who can't tolerate long downtime or workload that requires short downtime if anything goes wrong. And you cannot afford for those virtual machines to be powered down. So given that it can apply to any industry, so or any kind of customers, as long as that workload is critical to the business operation. So example, if you talk about databases, these are very important because applications won't be able to run if the database goes down, correct? So it's not based on the industry, but it is based on how important that virtual machine or that workload is to the business operation.
Okay, so when you talk about downtime, what is the minimum downtime that Veeam is able to support?
So when you talk about downtime, it's a very subjective question, because yes, Veeam can provide you a very fast uptime. Anything goes wrong, we can power it up at the DR site, or we can do instant VM recovery, which could happen in minutes. But still to say, it has to be related or dependent on your hardware or your configuration, how the virtual machines are being connected, and your bandwidth. So give you an example, I can give you a very fast Maserati car. But if you are on a very bumpy road and you expect it to run as fast as it's supposed to be on a mountain hillside, that's quite impossible, right?
Yeah, true.
There was one question that I always face for my customer, that when it comes to governance and compliance, there are many different types of governance and compliance, right? So when it comes to Aegis Cloud, is there what kind of compliance that your data center is abide by?
Okay, Aegis has 2 data centers located within Malaysia. First data center is in Cyberjaya and another data center is located in KL. Both the data center is a tier 3 data center certified. Okay, they are also equipped with various data center certifications such as ISO 9001, ISO 27001, ISMS for data center. We also have ISO 20000 for IT service management system, not forgetting the PCI DSS certification and so forth.
How does that apply to the customer? Or what would it be very important to the customer on this compliance?
Yes, because there are so many so-called cloud providers in the market out there. So usually what we tell customer to be aware of is to make a trip to visit the data center. Because yes, because since there are so many cloud providers out there, we do not know how reliable is their data center. They might be approaching customers to tell customers that, oh, my data center is actually very secure with all this certification. But in actual fact, it's just a server room with a server rack and several servers that hosting the servers. So we always make it a point to ask customer to go for data center visitation just to see for yourself how secure is the data center.
So that would be the second question that I have is, what kind of security measures is built on your data center? So this is always the very burning question of our customers, right? When I put my data in your data center, when I have it in your data center, is there any form of security?
Joanne, you're right. That is the first question that customer ask whenever we approach them about cloud backup and disaster recovery. It's always about how secure is our service. Okay, so Aegis backup solution uses the military grade of encryption, which is the AES 256. Yes. And all the backup data is encrypted with AES 256 encryption before it ever leaves the customer's premise. Okay, so when customers' data is seated in Aegis data center, we are unable to read the data as Aegis does not have the encryption key. We do not have the password. Okay, now if you're talking about Aegis data center infrastructure, if you are talking about network and security, we partner ourselves with technology providers such as WatchGuard, Clavister, Cisco, Bitdefender, Fortinet, and so on. Yeah, in terms of the infrastructure side. So Joanne, why do we need to have backup and replication in place in an organization?
Think about it this way: if all your data sits in the same office or the same data center or the same house, that like right now, all my data is sitting at the same house. If anything happened to my house, no matter how many copies of data you back up, it still goes together with it. If fire burns up my house, the data burn together. So that is why you need to have one copy that sits at a remote site. So sometimes, for example, I can have a DR copy that sits on Aegis data center. It could be a replicated copy. Why a replicated copy? That is, there's a virtual host that sits at Aegis Cloud that is ready to be powered on at any given time if anything goes wrong to my production data. That it will ensure the customer of zero downtime or business as usual, even if anything goes wrong with their data center.
Yeah, that's right. That's why we always encourage customers to have one copy of their data off-site, which is to Aegis Cloud, to Aegis data center.
And with what Ai Vee have mentioned earlier on, that with all the security and all and how compliant the data center is built with, that ensures the customer that if anything goes wrong, I have a peace in mind knowing that my data is safe sitting at Aegis Cloud's data center.
So guys, we have reached the end of our segment of episode 1 of the video today. Stay tuned for episode 2, which will be out soon. Okay, don't forget to subscribe to our Aegis Facebook and LinkedIn, and not forgetting to subscribe to our YouTube channel too. So thank you, Joanne. We'll catch up again episode 2.